to people, take time, make sure you plan good, and make sure you put God first. Because for me, I saw, I mean, like, I didn't lack. And funny enough is that, you know, sometimes we come from a black community where Batabo Malume will come at Munyang to take in Congo. Me, I didn't have that. I had to do it all by myself. So these are the stuff that maybe going forward, and also, well, family depends, obviously. They have structures cool, but I'm not saying for me, and I didn't even complain, because I say it's about me taking care and make sure that I take care of the ones. So for me, in that point, let me not
Okay, so let me just ask one more.
Important question or two. What do you do, and what does Umama do? What's your passion in life, and what's hers? I get
Now to you to speak on her behalf.
You mean in terms of
just as vocation, work, what do you guys do? What are you passionate? What are your dreams as a couple? Because that affects the conversation.
Well, I think for me, when we met, she was unemployed, I was working. So we both now working. We're passionate about being involved. I mean, in a lot of things. I think we love God, most important. I think for me, you know, when you talk, you know, it's nice to have a balance at home when you talk online. Again, or let's try something else. We know God, we pray, we sing the glory. So for us, we inline that thing. So we can, we were trying this traveling thing. I love traveling. I wanted to go to Maldives, but I couldn't go because of something. But for us, that's for traveling is something that I want to explore. Obviously, and enjoy ourselves. I mean, we're newlywed. I know we also want to expand the family, but for now, maybe let's enjoy ourselves. But yeah, definitely. But I'm somebody that indoors. I love indoors. I always say my weekend is Saturday. I don't go out on Saturdays. Then obviously Sunday is church. You must, yeah. So for me, we align. I mean, she loves God. She will go to Indabin with friends, but it's Sayotandas. I'm like, okay. I say, I'm being guys. So I don't think there's more that is apart. I think the more we get closer, because actually when you stay with somebody, I always say to people, une person yake, then another person, and then you make a third person. So they become three, then you navigate on one. Because in Neyamu we make ours. So it's a learning process. But yeah, so far so good.
Please introduce yourselves.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Mchan. I thought you were still gonna go to how did you skip him? Well, good evening, everyone, and thanks for this opportunity. My name is Mbumile Mbanza. I'm here with my beautiful wife, Usbongile Mbanza. We have been married for how long now? 10 years, going on 11. Yeah, it's been a good ride. It's been a good journey, with ups and downs, of course, yeah. But we've learned to capitalize on the ups and learn from the downs and strike a balance in how we do our life together. I don't know if you want to add something back.
No. Okay, so what are your passions? What is her passions? What do you do career-wise, and also hobbies or things on the side, if you are able to talk about it?
Yeah, do I have any hobbies? Okay, all right. So yeah, I jog. I like to riding bicycles and stuff like that. I do that. I don't have a bicycle, by the way, but when I go to the beach, I make sure that when I go to the beach, I make sure that before I come back this side, I ride a bike from one end of the beach to the other end of the beach. I also play chess. I play with my son. That's the kind of stuff I do. I'm also a bit of a bookworm, maybe. Yeah. I read a lot. Yeah. So my wife, what does she do? My wife is a fashionista. She's a fashion specialist. That's her specialty. So yeah, for those who need some assistance with fashion, there she is right here next to me. That's what she's passionate about. She watches fashion shows. In her spare time, she sits behind the machine and she creates new things. She likes to create new things, yeah. And then in terms of careers, I'm a telecoms engineer in Eskom, and my wife is a maintenance scheduling technician in Eskom. Yeah, so that's pretty much the only company we've worked for. Yeah, since we started working after school, yeah. What else did I miss?
No, we'll come back.
All right,
Leave it
thank
at
you.
brief.
Sure.
Good evening, Bazalwane. Good evening, Saints. Good evening, those who are online. Thank you very much. My name is Elliot Msebenzi Ntuli. I'm with my better half, Sibongile Constance Ntuli. She was Majola. I changed the surname. Yeah, basically we've been married for 20 years. 2004 up to now. So we've raised 6 kids, 4 boys, 5 boys and 1 girl. You see. So but times are not the same. You see, when we got married, it was just a transition from apartheid era, 1994, when teenage generation yet, when I started work, it was that transition, 1994. And then I came to suburb area 1998, and we got married in 2004. So those days, we didn't have challenges that the new generation has now. You understand? Houses were cheap, cars were cheap, and all those things. So I started working as an electrical engineer, heavy current. Then through the ranks at Highfield Steel, I went up as a foreman. I left foreman, I went as a production manager. Then I came back to project. You see, so that's how life was. And my wife was working at the Rich Casino. So, and we had to decide after marriage raising kids, because things were not balancing out, especially when I moved a level up. Because when I became a shift boss, I was working shift. And then I'll find kids alone. She just left the kids and then the keys and then all those things. Sometimes I remember the little one, Banele, I had to go pick him up at work. So then we had to sit down and decide. But just to move backwards, when I got married, I married in church, Whitman Christian Fellowship, and like Baba Mkwane said, my passion was not also to get married quicker. My first thing as an engineer, I was looking forward to work as an engineer, buy a house, get myself sorted out with a house, with a car and everything before I commit. And thank God, and as I bought a house first, 1998, it was when Whitbank Christian Fellowship was launched. I remember 3 guys came Saturday, invited me to church. I hesitated. I took about 3 weeks before I came. Neither know that I'm coming to the house where I'm going to learn about marriage, about couples and all those things. And that has helped me a lot, you see, because when we came, it was much easier for me to learn how couples behave, how they do. Sometimes I still remember topics and exercise that we did, me and my wife and all those things. We had older couples now, they are Bishop, Oba Mashiko, no, Mama Shiko. They were leading couples under the leadership of Pastor Ed and Pastor Stella. And those guys guided us. We had fun. We had a lot of camps, we had a lot of things. So we learned from each other as couples, you see. And that's why I say, when you keep the principles of God, nothing goes. Maybe my wife will say how to raise the kids.
Actually, on that, I wanted to hear, because you spoke about having gone to work and kids were left, and then you said you guys had to sit down. So what was the conversation, Mama, at that point? Because that's one of the places we find ourselves in our marriages now. But young kids growing up, we have to both work. How did you guys find a way of working? I mean, how many kids did you have at that point? You said you have 6 now?
Yes.
How many did you have at that point?
By then we had 4.
You had 4 kids?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a handful. I mean, I've got 2 and
we had 4 by then, yes. And because I was the one changing careers a lot.
Right.
Because firstly, I was working as a technician. I used to work standbys, call outs and everything. But me, I didn't have a challenge with home because I was 5 kilometers from work to home.
Right.
That's why I say our lifestyle is going to differ to many people, because I ate lunch at home. You see, if I need to take tea, I'll go home, go for tea time. I see my wife now and then. You see?
Okay. So, Mama, how's this conversation go?
Yeah, I will say, Kona, it was not easy. I was still young, and the kids, abantwana bathole very close. Yabona, it was stress. But due to have a family around, I'm staying. My home is in location, his home location. So the grannies were helping. On weekends, we have to take the kids to my mom or to Mama Zala. So that's how they were helping. Even holidays. Yeah, even on school holidays, they will take them. They were helping me. Now they have grown up.
So you had a support structure and family.
Yeah.
So that's how you were both able to manage both your careers.
Support, yes.
Did at any point, are you still working, Mama?
No, I have to resign my work.
Okay.
Due to I was working shift, he was also working shift, so it was, sometimes my shift were not straight shift, like in a week, maybe this week I'm working 3 to during the day, 3 at night till 11, or they were not straight shift like 6 to 6 or I have to resign my job, stay home. When I was, it was 2006. It was after 10 years. I was working for 10 years. Did work for 10 years. It was not easy, but I did get used to stay home till now. Till now, he was taking care of me. People were surprised. Oh, you're not working? Say, yes, I'm not working. So that's how it was.
Understood. Banzas, you guys have 2 kids, right?
Yeah.
So how do you find that balance? We're starting with the kids because we forget that the kids are part of the career. They are a career themselves, and they affect the career decision making. So You guys have 2 kids. How old are they?
Tell me the ages. Okay, our son is 9. He's gonna be turning 10 next month, and then our daughter is how old is she? She's 7. She's gonna be turning 8. Later in the year.
Right. So how did the having kids? Was that a decision you guys made together? How did you come to that decision? Because you've had them early. I mean, you've been married, what, 10 years? So, in the next year, you guys were ready to go. Did you guys decide on that? Because that is also a sticky point for people. Well, how did you guys come to that decision?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah, we got married in September 2012. Yeah. And the next year, in July, Sazi was born. So it was just 1 month after the marriage, yeah. But I mean, for what I've always been afraid of is the pressure to have kids at a certain point, or so I don't like the planning. So we had a discussion about it. We said that there's no reason why for us we don't want to have kids early. So we said, okay, fine, we'll just let God lead the process. If we should have kids early in our marriage, it's okay, we're gonna accept it. But if we should have kids later in the marriage, it's okay as well, we'll accept it. And it just happened, boom, immediately. So yeah, I think for me, what I have fear of, I've seen some couples struggle to have kids, and some you see that they had a certain planned time where they want to have kids, and at that time, it doesn't happen at the time as they plan. So now you find that a person or the couple has been trying to have kids for 2 years or 3 years. And suddenly they feel like they can't have kids. Why? Because it was planned for that time, and it's not happening. And now in their mind, it must happen. So there's pressure. So I've always been afraid of the pressure. So I wanted to just relax. If God gives us kids in year number 5, it's okay. If He gives us kids in year number 1, it's okay. So that's the conversation that we had, and we agreed on that. Did we agree?
Oh, Mampan, still
Greetings, saints. Thank you, Mr. Mchali, for the opportunity. What I can say is that my husband is a good salesman. He can sell you anything. So I didn't have that in mind initially. I didn't think about it. All I knew was when I get married, we'll have fun and, take our time and everything. But he told me about what he's saying right now, how he doesn't like the pressure and everything. And he made examples closer to the family that, people have planned. They're like, no, we are on pill up until a certain time, and then when the time comes, we'll stop and we'll start having kids. And unfortunately, it doesn't happen, and it gives so much stress to the family, to the couple, and he didn't want to have that. And when he came with the idea to me, and I felt like, I also didn't want to have such stress, so I agreed, and we just,
So, okay, that being said, you had the kids. Did that affect your career in any way? Because I know with ladies, there's a lot more of an effect than guys in different forms. So did that affect you in any way? How did you guys come to terms with that? Is there any agreements you made with, okay, do you stop? Did you pause? Did you do, what did you guys do?
Fortunately enough, it didn't, it was just a smooth ride for us. We didn't have anything to pause, or our careers went on like normally. It was like just a bump, there's something that is visible, but even internally, I didn't have any complications, nothing, thank God for that. So it was just another day, but with a different shape.
Mr. Nkonyan, when are you guys looking at having kids?
Oh, by the way, I do have 2 girls. Yeah, apart from, not with my wife, but I do have, they're teens now. They've grown, so.
So pushing.
Yeah, so I think for me, maybe I need to be a bit honest. We want to have a child, not kids, a child for now. But I think we don't want to put pressure. We're trusting in God. I know sometimes when you trust in God, or we quote them, the Sarah and the other stuff. But I think it's true. We said let God take the, let Him lead in that fashion. But I think the challenge with me with her is that I already have kids. So I'm kind of like, no, like I'm kind of like, I'm showing it even by honest. So I'm kind of like, let me not pressure myself to do that. But I think it won't be correct because I'm sure we're a couple, and then the other couple wants the kid. And I don't want to say I want to have a child because of a child. I mean, I experience being a dad. I mean, so what I'm trying to say is that once the child comes, we'll enjoy, we'll have fun. I thought I'm not one of these guys because of girls already. A child is a blessing. I mean, the mere fact that I let these 2 girls to grow from day one, taking care of them, like literally everything. So for me, it will be a nice space for me. But I'm thinking, when he can't see it, he caught in the frame, because I was thinking those things. But look, I think it's gonna be fun. So I think we're looking forward to that. So if it happens sooner, it's good. If it's later, let's not put pressure. I think the Mpanza put it there. We will have to have one. I know she's gonna be a great mother. She also raised one of her younger sister because she also lost the mother, so I know she's gonna do well. So for now, if it happens, good. If not, we're not putting any pressure on us.
Oh, awesome. So now, progression in our families. We all want to progress, we all want to move forward, promotions, careers, entrepreneurship. Mampanzo, you are in fashion, you produce clothes. Do you guys have a plan of moving forward with that? Have you guys discussed that? How will that affect you guys? Have you discussed at length how you want to push your passion? Is it something that you want to pursue, or you want to pursue your current career? And what are your thoughts on that?
Unfortunately, as much as I love fashion, as much as I would love to continue producing clothes and everything, I have put a pause on it currently due to too much pressure that was coming towards us as a family. Last year, I was still doing fashion, like producing clothes for other people. So much that I felt like it's taking me away from the family. I'll make an example. Last year on my birthday, the 16th, you guys were there. In the morning, you came, my husband and made breakfast for me, and I just had people walking. You guys came, and I was busy making a dress for somebody on my birthday. So on that day, I made a decision that I have to sit down and think about us as a family. It wasn't fair for everyone to have to suffer just for, as much as I love to do what I'm doing, but I have put a pause on it. And we are trying to strategize on how are we gonna do this going forward so that it doesn't do what it did on previous years, getting too much.
Mr. Banza, during how were you going? Were you handling handling the kids? What was happening on your side? Because you got work. She's busy doing the work on that side with the fashion and her job. How were you handling it?
We learn to close the gaps, you know. It's something that I normally say, and she doesn't like me saying it, is when there's a gap, I close it. But if there's somebody in that spot playing the role, then I step back. Yeah, she doesn't like that, but I think this is my, let's call it, motto. If I see that there's a gap, I make plans to rise to the occasion and close that gap.
So you close the gap.
Yeah. If I see a gap, maybe there's something, there's no food cooked or whatever, or the kids need to be bathed, they need a bath or whatever, reading stories and all these things. Waking them up and taking them to school. If I see there's a gap, I come in. So even at the time when she was busy, sometimes she would sit throughout the night. Yeah, and our weekends will be wasted away. You see, you have plans on the weekend and this person wants to do something else on the weekend. So yeah, but when she does that, then we spend time with the kids, we watch the movies, and I take them to sleep, and yeah, we talk. It's actually our bonding session with the kids when she's busy doing her own thing. Yeah.
Understood. Okay, so one of the things that people deal with, I'm going to lay down a story, a personal story that I experienced with a family that I know. And basically what had happened was, years back, Ubaba was working middle management in a factory. When he's working there, he starts lower in the operational spaces on the floor, and he grows, studies, and he goes into middle management. And there comes a point where he gets an offer from the company to go to the UK. And they're like, Guy, we'd like to choose you to go to the UK. You're going to go there for 2 years. But there's a catch. You can only go there without your family for the first 2 years. He's married, he's got 2 boys at that point, very young. Only go there for 2 years. And the scenario is that you can come back once every quarter. We'll cover that flight. But if you want your family to go with you, you would have to cover them for the first 2 years. So he comes home, tells his wife, I think it's a Friday. His wife is like, so it's UK, good day. You know, and this is way back. I'm talking probably 20 odd years ago. So Ubaba, listen, they're going to give me the offer on Monday, but it's something for us to consider. And she's like, no, we're not going. She's already just fighting. We're not going. Monday, Tuesday comes, he gets the offer, he comes back home. He says, love, here's the offer. She's like, hum, sevens. Good right. And to this day, the point that I'm making is that to this day, this family's trajectory has changed completely. From that moment, Ubaba went from middle management, got into directorship, came back this side and became the operational director of the company. It's a multinational company. He is now a chairperson of a multinational company, started off by being a CEO of that company, and their whole lives have changed. Their children have red passports now because they moved over to the UK, opportunities all over. And those decisions are so important because they are make or break decisions. There are people now who get a job offer in Cape Town. Yeah, Cape Town! Hi, my family, you were speaking about support structure. And the thing I want to raise now is, what are your feelings and advice on relocation and job opportunities? How do you decide on that? I mean, you're from KZN. She's from Hendrina. We will say it's around the corner, but it's still a move. What are your feelings on that, and what can you speak on that, with decision, because they can make or break a family, you know? Let's start with you. And have you discussed it with your wife, any such situations?
Well, for me, firstly, I'm from Eguruleni, so which means that I've moved. Well, when I was a bachelor, so it's fine. But for me, my thing is that with the girls, I don't foresee myself moving out of the country, one, because I think maybe the country you can juggle, because I think I feel I still need to be there for them. So we haven't discussed such, because I don't think we had an issue with the wife where we can say, let's say if you get a job there, but I think it will depend, obviously. But for me, I don't, maybe speaking from now, here and now, I wouldn't want to have a situation the wife works in Cape Town, I stay this side. I just think it puts away apart so much, because now we need to plan about seeing each other than planning about us moving forward. Because she's far away from me. Now I need to say, okay, next week I'm going to Cape Town. So I think for me, it really needs people that are, I don't want to use the word mature, but really know how their trajectory of their life is going. Because you cannot be motivated by money. Yes, we need money, and stuff, but I think there's more out of money. But I mean, things change. I might say now in 2023, no, but you never know. I mean, people I know, even this church, it's always encouraging people to go to overseas and explore and stuff. So, but for me, here and now, and my thoughts and my thinking, where I am, I'm fine. I mean, if I want to see, one of my girls stays with my mom, the other one stays here. So it's easy for me to travel in between when I go home. So for me, I think we haven't had discussion like that with my wife because nothing has come. But I think if it comes, I'm sure we'll find a suitable, appropriate way to say how do we address that. But for here now, no, it's all good here.
And I think you highlighted something very important, the discussion part. Because I think part of the issue that we find in our marriages is that, especially in our Christian marriages, because we're both Christian, born again, there's an assumption that we have an understanding of where we're going. And meanwhile, we have different passions. Doesn't mean that we're falling apart, it's just that those things need to be laid out. And I think that discussion part, I've realized, Gita, I mean, I've been married, 11 years now? And I found that the discussion part is so important before anything happens. It's very tough to get a decision going or moving in the right direction when something happens. It becomes tense. But if you played out scenarios, I've realized that, I mean, we're also from Ekurhuleni. My wife is from Vosloo, I'm from Benoni side. And we've find ourselves talking about, hey, what if we had an opportunity in Cape Town? We talk about those things. What do we do about this? What do we do about the